OpenClaw just shipped its biggest release in a while, and there's a lot worth talking about. If you've been following this project, you know it moves fast, but recent releases actually affect how the whole tool works day to day. So let me walk through what's in it, what it means in practice. OpenClaw is an open source, self-hosted personal AI assistant. You run it on your own machine. It connects to whatever messaging apps you already use: Telegram, Slack, Discord, WhatsApp, iMessage, Signal, and about 20 others, and it talks to AI models on your behalf. You bring your own API keys. The whole thing runs locally, and you stay in control of your data. Also, it went through 3 name changes in that time. Started as Claudebot, became Moltbot after some trademark pressure from Anthropic, then became OpenClaw 3 days after that because the creator said Moltbot never quite sounded right. The biggest structural change in this release is how plugins install. Before this, if you wanted to add a plugin to OpenClaw, it worked through NPM just like any other node package. That made sense early on, because NPM is something every developer already has. But as the plugin ecosystem grew, that approach started showing its limits. You had no real update tracking, no curated discovery, and no way to know if a plugin was community vetted or just something random someone published. So in this release, ClawHub replaces NPM as the default source for plugins. When you run OpenClaw plugins install with a plain package name now, it checks ClawHub first and only falls back to NPM if ClawHub doesn't carry it. There's also native OpenClaw skills search, install, and update commands built right into the CLI now, and gateway level support for ClawHub-backed installs. This is roughly the same move VS Code made when it built its own extension marketplace. Instead of pointing everyone to NPM for extensions, you still can install from NPM directly if you need to, but the recommended path is now ClawHub. The plugin SDK itself also got a major overhaul. The old extension API package is completely gone in this release, with no compatibility shim. If you maintain or use any third-party plugins, they need to migrate to OpenClaw plugin SDK subpaths before upgrading. The docs have a migration guide. This is the kind of breaking change that's annoying in the short term, but necessary when a project is growing fast and needs its internal API surface to be sustainable. A smaller but actually useful quality of life addition in this release is the /btw command. The way it works is you type /btw followed by a quick question, and the assistant answers without that exchange becoming part of the ongoing session context. So if you're midway through a long task and you just want to quickly ask something unrelated, like what a flag does, or whether a config key accepts a certain value, you can do it without the session treating that as part of the main conversation thread. Claude Code has a similar concept, where side queries don't necessarily modify the main task context. Claude Desktop handles this differently in that there's no equivalent command. Every message you send is part of the same thread. So /btw is a practical thing, especially for longer-running agent sessions where keeping context clean matters. The browser control layer went through a real architectural change too. The legacy Chrome extension relay path is completely removed. That old approach required a bundled extension to bridge between OpenClaw and Chrome. It worked, but it was fragile and added complexity. The replacement is an existing session mode where you connect through Chrome DevTools protocol directly to a running browser instance. You can now attach to Brave, Edge, or any other Chromium-based browser just by pointing at its user data directory. Security got a decent amount of attention in this release, and the sandbox environment now blocks JVM build tool injection vectors. It also blocks .NET dependency resolution hijacking from the host exec environment. These aren't hypothetical threats. When you're running an AI agent that can execute shell commands, any of those environment variables that influence how processes launch become potential attack surfaces if the agent gets tricked into running something it shouldn't. Blocking them at the sandbox level is the right call. Speaking of security concerns, it's worth mentioning something that's been getting coverage. Cisco's AI security team tested a third-party OpenClaw skill and found it performed data exfiltration and prompt injection without the user being aware of it. That's not a problem with OpenClaw's core code, but it's a real risk in any ecosystem where the agent can install and run third-party skills with broad permissions. The shift to ClawHub as the default install source is at least a step toward having a curated and more accountable plugin marketplace, but users running third-party skills should still be careful about what permissions they're granting. Web search got significantly more flexible in this release. Previously, the main supported search provider was Brave Search, which has a decent free tier and reasonable privacy properties. Now Exa, Tavily, and Firecrawl are all bundled plugins with first-class integration. Exa brings its own date filtering and search modes that are distinct from a typical keyword search. It indexes the web more semantically, which tends to work better for research-style queries. Tavily adds dedicated extract tools alongside search. Firecrawl handles scraping with better rendering support for JavaScript-heavy sites. Each one has its own config namespace under the plugin settings. On the model side, the default OpenAI model for new setups has been updated to GPT 5.4. Codex stays on its own separate default. There's also forward compatibility added for GPT 5.4 Mini and GPT 5.4 Nano in the model catalog and reasoning gates. More interesting for enterprise users is the new Anthropic Vertex provider. If your organization uses Google Cloud Platform and routes Claude calls through Google Vertex AI, you can now configure that directly in OpenClaw. That means Claude access through GCP auth without needing a direct Anthropic API key. That's a meaningful addition for teams where procurement goes through GCP rather than Anthropic directly. Per agent thinking and reasoning defaults were added in this release as well. You can now set thinking, reasoning, and fast mode defaults at the individual agent level rather than applying one global config across everything. If you run multiple agents doing different kinds of work, some that need extended reasoning and some that just need quick responses, you can tune each one separately without them interfering with each other. The Matrix plugin is also brand new in this release and is a breaking change if you were using an older community-built Matrix plugin. This is now backed by the official Matrix SDK, which gives much better reliability and proper event handling. There's a migration guide in the docs. One specific fix worth calling out: Matrix events no longer replay incorrectly after a gateway restart. Previously, restarting the gateway could cause already handled Matrix messages to show up again as new, which created duplicate replies in rooms. That's fixed with durable deduplication across restarts. A fix that might seem small, but actually matters for anyone using local models through Ollama. Reasoning model outputs no longer leak into normal assistant replies. Some Ollama-served reasoning models expose their internal chain of thought as a thinking or reasoning field, and OpenClaw was accidentally promoting those fields into the final assistant text the user sees. So you'd get these weirdly verbose replies that included internal model reasoning. That's cleaned up now. Compaction also got a few improvements. Session persona and language continuity are now preserved across compaction summaries, which means if you've configured your assistant with a specific persona or set it to respond in a particular language, that survives a context compaction instead of resetting. And a separate fix uses full session token counts for the post-compaction sanity check rather than partial counts, so the check is actually accurate. Peter Steinberger, who created OpenClaw, already announced he was joining OpenAI. At the same time he announced the project will be moved to an open source foundation rather than remaining under individual ownership. So the question of who's driving this project long-term is an open one right now. Tencent has already announced a full product suite built on OpenClaw with WeChat integration, and the Chinese government moved in March to restrict state agencies and state-owned enterprises from running OpenClaw on government computers, citing security concerns, while some local governments in manufacturing hubs are doing the opposite and trying to build industry around it. So the project is in an interesting position: massive adoption, serious security scrutiny, and a leadership transition happening at the same time. That doesn't make the software worse or better, but it's real context for anyone who's building on top of it or planning to self-host it for something serious. If you're already running OpenClaw, then this upgrade does have breaking changes you need to account for. The ClawHub plugin install behavior change, the extension API removal, the Matrix plugin migration, and the legacy environment variable names all need attention. Run OpenClaw Doctor fix before and after upgrading if you're on an established setup. If you're on a clean install, most of this doesn't affect you. Overall, this release reflects a project that's past the make it work phase and moving into make it maintainable territory. The ClawHub shift, the plugin SDK cleanup, the sandbox hardening, the browser architecture change, Those are all decisions that make the code base harder to extend casually, but much more solid as a foundation. Whether the community and the incoming foundation keep that momentum going is the actual question now. Alright, so that's it from the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.